Hello, I'm Davis and I like to play video games. So as of recording, the 1.6 update for Stardew Valley has been out for a few months now, and I've been enjoying it thoroughly, as I'm sure most everyone has. If you haven't had a chance to check it out by now, be warned that this video will be covering some 1.6 content, so now's your chance to bounce. Okay, now that we've got that covered, let's get right into it. As you can see in the title, I have developed a new speedrun category for Stardew Valley. Now, I'm not super well versed in speedruns. I enjoy watching the occasional video, but I've never really immersed myself in the community. I have the utmost respect for people who can play games with such precision, strategy, and ingenuity, but I myself could never, and frankly, I'm not interested enough to try. However, while playing the new update at my typical leisurely, unbothered pace, I came across an item that set my mind racing. Now, this is likely not news to many of you, but for those of you who are unaware, the 1.6 update introduced a new item called Stardew Tea. The item description reads, "A very special gift that would delight anyone." It actually increases friendship with any NPC by 250 points, which is an entire heart. Now some context for those who need it. When giving NPCs gifts in Stardew Valley, typically you can only give one gift to any given NPC per day, with a max of 2 gifts per week. The only exception is on an NPC's birthday. If you have already given them 2 gifts that week, you can still give them a 3rd gift on their birthday. I say this because there is a very interesting feature of the Stardew Tea in that it does not abide by the gift limits. So recently, I was watching a friend play, and when he went to give Maru a strawberry and a Stardew Tea on her birthday, I watched as she went from 3 hearts to 8 hearts in a single interaction. It was such an exhilarating moment, and I started wondering, how could this concept be expanded? Could you go from 0 to 8 hearts in one fell swoop? Could you get someone to date you on the spot? If you got someone else to 8 hearts, to make the bouquet available in Pierre's, you could bring one with you. Was it possible to get to 10? Could you get married? Well, no. I guess you couldn't get the mermaid's pendant until after they were at 10 hearts. And that was where I left it for the time being. A fun little thought experiment. But over the next day, as my mind wandered absently, it occurred to me, if you were willing to be absolutely brutal, what was stopping you from dating an NPC until they were at 10 hearts, getting the mermaid's pendant, but just don't give it to them? You could, in theory, have all the items it would take to get an NPC from 0 hearts to marriage in one interaction. And thus, the love at first sight percent speedrun was born. Now, allow me to reiterate, I do not claim to have any authoritative knowledge of Stardew Valley speedrunning, but I am aware of some of the meme runs that are out there, such as Posh Percent, where you try to drink wine and eat cheese as quickly as possible, and Drink Mayo Percent, where, well, you drink mayonnaise as quickly as possible. And it seemed to me that this concept was ripe for speedrunning. There are so many possibilities for strategies to craft and approaches to take, and I figured, why not do the run as an example to introduce everyone to this new category? So I did that, and that's what this is, and you are watching it now. Okay, first, a breakdown of the rules. The goal is simply to get a marriage candidate to agree to marry you within your first conversation with them. This means that you go from question marks in the relationship tab to gifting the mermaid's pendant without leaving to do anything else. The only caveat I added was that you have to be single when you propose. And then whatever normal rules Stardew speedruns have. Again, I'm not super clear on the minor details. Anyway, here's how things went for me. I started out by doing a bit of tactical planning about what I would need to achieve the goal. According to my research, I determined that in order to take a marriage candidate from 0 to 10 in one sitting, in addition to a bouquet and mermaid's pendant, I would need 3 Stardew Teas and a loved gift, all given on their birthday. So I had to figure out what was the quickest way I could get the teas. Because here's the thing, they aren't all that common. The primary way of acquiring them is to get them out of the prize ticket machine in Lewis's house. These prize tickets can be found in a number of ways, but the most common is from completing Help Wanted requests. Every 3 tasks from the Help Wanted board will award you a ticket. Now, the order of the prizes in the machine is not random, and I could get my first tea after just 5 tickets. But the second would come in slot 16. After 22 slots, then there's a pool of prizes that might be given for each ticket, with a T being a 1 in 9 chance. Now, if you're doing the math at home along with me, you'll notice that to get the 3 Ts I need, I would need a minimum of 23 tickets, times 3 tasks. That's 69 quests from the Help Wanted board. That is quite a hefty amount. In fact, there's an achievement to complete just 40 of these requests. Granted, there are other ways to get tickets. Each Special Orders Board quest grants a ticket, but you can only get one of those a week and you can't get any before fall. They're also available as rewards at some festivals, but those are few and far between, so I started looking for other ways to obtain the T. I found 2 other opportunities that seemed viable. One way is prefaced with a secondary spoiler warning for the 1.6 content. That's this. Now, this is the warning. This is the secondary warning. If you didn't leave on the first one at the beginning of the video, this is your second chance. If you were watching this video and went, wow, this is all crazy stuff and I wish I didn't know this, leave now. This is going to be even more spoiling is happening beyond this point in the video. Maybe you've been playing the 1.6 update and you're like, yeah, I know about Star Drop Tees, but you're not quite that far into it. This is another spoiler warning for further into the game. So maybe you don't know as much as you think you know, and you don't want this to get spoiled now, so bye. Okay, here we go. When you unlock the greenhouse, you now oust a raccoon that appears to have been living in the dilapidated building. If you then use 100 hardwood to convert a fallen tree in Cindersap Forest into a tiny raccoon-sized cottage, the raccoon will make requests and give you rewards for fulfilling those requests. After you've completed 5 of those requests, upon fulfilling the 6th or more, a Star Drop T is one of the 5 possible rewards. And as complicated as that is, each request will only be available a week after the completion of the one prior. So that's a bit much. It would be much easier to play with remixed bundles and have a chance to get the Helper Bundle, which only requires you to donate a prize ticket and 5 mystery boxes and rewards a T. So that's what I was going to do. Use 16 tickets to get 2 Ts from the prize machine, and hopefully use 1 more ticket to complete the Helper's Bundle. Now it was just a matter of determining who was the best candidate to marry, or not marry. Who was the person I could get up to maximum friendship the quickest so that I could use their love to buy the things I need to propose to someone else? Based on everyone's loved gift preferences, I settled on Leah to be my victim, since she loves salad. I could easily buy that from the saloon from the start, and if I spoke to her every day and gave her 2 salads every week, I could have her ready to marry me by the end of the summer. There was one last thing that I failed to consider when coming up with this idea. In order to buy the mermaid's pendant, you not only have to have a marriage candidate up to 10 hearts, but you also have to have upgraded your farmhouse. So at some point in the run, I would have to scrounge up $10,000 and 450 wood. But I figured it would be fine. I would just focus on getting Leah's friendship up, and then worry about the house when I was getting the remaining Ts I needed. So that was my plan. Salad, help, money. Seemed foolproof. So I settled in and started my first speedrun. Here you can see I set up my game file. I've got remixed bundles, hoping to get the Helper's Bundle, and I show that there is no seed set. Clock starts when I click OK. I will point out that because I have 0 speedrunning experience, and this is the first time this speedrun has ever been done, I didn't bother with trying to do any animation canceling, because whatever my final time is would be a world record. So yeah, I look forward to someone who has even for a moment practiced speedrunning, beating this time immediately just by implementing that. One thing I didn't take into account when I chose Leah as a victim was that she doesn't ever leave her house until almost noon each day. So until I could get access to her room, it may have been a detriment to the run because I would have to fill a lot of time just waiting to get access to Leah. And those salads I thought would be such an easy early loved gift, yeah, you can't get into the saloon until afternoon, so it often felt like I was wasting a lot of time just sitting around. Oh, yeah, just remembered it was a speedrun and I should put the bed by the door. So the start of this run looks a lot like the start of a casual playthrough as far as tasks, because I need to finish some community center bundles as quickly as possible so I can see if I got the helpers bundle. So I'm mostly just prepping for the possible bundles like forage and spring crops. I also realized that because I was waiting for the in-game clock to progress, I needed to minimize the time I spend in menus and dialogue so time wouldn't freeze. I did wonder if it would be fair to set up a multiplayer farm to do this run in an environment where the clock doesn't stop, but I figured someone better than me, so anyone really, could do this without having to wait around so much, thus negating the benefit of a multiplayer farm. Once it was raining on the third day, I threw the talking to Leah every day plan out the window. It was just too much time to be waiting around, and I decided it would be quicker to just go a couple extra weeks of gift giving to make up the rest. It was clear, though, that I would have plenty of time to gather the 450 wood I would need for the house upgrade. It was about 15 minutes into the run when I realized that I had been so focused on making sure I was getting my friendship up with Leah that I failed to stick to the most important part of my plan, which was to complete Help Wanted quests. Hopefully I didn't miss more than one, but that could definitely be improved upon. Oh my gosh, I forgot about Help Wanted. It's already Thursday? Good lord, I was supposed to be doing that already. Crap. Unfortunately, being flustered about missing the Help Wanted requests led me to forget to water my crops, which would mean my salad money would be set back a day. Once I had opened the community center, it occurred to me that I would have to open my mail that I had been ignoring because the wizard invites you to his tower. And in doing so, I was reminded that I never went to go get my fishing rod from Willie. I was really firing on all cylinder here. Eventually, I harvested my first parsnips, retrieved my rod, and spoke to the wizard, so I could finally get started on my first request, which was to get 20 copper ore from the mines for Clint. But first, I wasted like 20 full seconds juggling things in my inventory while trying to buy seeds from Pierre. It was like the quintessential example of trying to take a shortcut ending up being longer than just doing things the right way the first time. I probably could have just trashed these things and been done with it. But who knows? Maybe if I had done that, then I would have needed it later, and then that would have been the shortcut coming back to bite me. Oh my lord, okay. Stop it. I need that. Okay. There we go. Anyway, I quickly completed the Spring Forge bundle, which opened up the pantry and the fish tank. What I failed to do at that time was take note of how remixing the bundles had changed the items I would need to donate. For instance, I would need to donate a carrot now for the Spring Crops bundle instead of a green bean. Luckily, I just happened to pick some up in the mine while collecting my copper ore. Then, at last, 35 minutes into the run, I completed my first Help Wanted request. I was going to have to hurry it up a skosh if I didn't want to be here for a literal day. Another thing I should mention is that I will be avoiding conversation with just about everyone in this run, and that serves two purposes. For one, I'm not sure how long it'll take to get everything I need prepped, and depending on what season it is when I do get everything together, I want every other marriage candidate to be available as an option just in case. Remember, I have to have not met them before for it to count as love at first sight. Second, completing Help Wanted quest will increase friendship with the character who made the request, but the delivery requests, the ones where they ask you to bring an item to them, those can only be requested by people you've met. By not talking to anyone, I increase the chances of a request coming from Leah, which will increase the friendship even further. This will hopefully make up for my decision to bail on talking to her every day. At just under an hour, I was able to complete my third Help Wanted request, which awarded me my first prize ticket. I would typically collect the prize for each ticket as I got it because, I might be able to use the item and I had lots of time to kill anyway, but I could see how it might be advantageous to just hold on to them until you had all 17 and collect the prizes all at once, though you would have to deal with some inventory management at that point. Shortly after, I discovered that the Quality Crops bundle also required some new items. Quality Crops or green beans? Oh, Davis, you dumb man. Since I knew it was a possibility that I might need to complete the greenhouse, I decided that I would have to plant more green beans just in case. Though it would probably be easier just to buy the greenhouse from Joja now that I think about it. I'll keep that in mind. I missed out on a delivery request from Leah on day 10 because I had failed to preemptively catch a catfish the day before when it was raining, even though I said out loud that I should do that. And then I need to do some fishing since it's raining in spring. I need a catfish, probably. It seems like someone always wants a catfish, and it's never possible to get it after it gets requested. Once my potato had come in, I went to donate it while waiting for Pierre to open, and that was when I discovered that I also needed to donate kale rather than cauliflower. Whoops! Anyway, I had finally fallen into a bit of a rhythm where each day I would water crops and then check the help wanted board for tasks before going to give Leah a salad. Or a leek, in this particular case, where I beefed the scroll in my hotbar. No! I cannot believe that just happened! I was thoroughly upset by this, but at least she didn't hate it. Just before the 2-hour mark, I finally completed the spring crops bundle, which opened up the boiler room, leaving me one bundle away from knowing whether this was going to take a long time or a really long time. Once I got 2 hearts with Leah, I thought I would have access to her house, which would save me the time of waiting for her to exit. And while this is technically true, even with access to her house, it doesn't open up until 10 a.m. Notice that it says it's locked rather than you're not good enough friends to go in. At this point, I was starting to run into a lot of inventory management issues, and I tried to free things up by carrying only the tools I needed, but I just can't play that way. And besides, having to travel back and forth to swap tools was just taking up more time. So I decided I would take the hit to my money and get myself the first backpack upgrade. After collecting my 3rd prize ticket, the spring was winding down, so I sold my potato harvest and invested in some parsnips. Albeit a few more than I had intended. I mean, 95 parsnips was going to take a lot of time to plant and also water every day, but I was going to need $10,000, so I committed to it. Now, if I were any good at this, I would have better knowledge of where to find people when. However, I am not any good. So, while wasting my time looking for Lewis to deliver him some green algae that he had requested, I found the last shellfish I needed for the crab pop bundle sitting on the beach. So with that complete, I finally had access to the bulletin board where I was lucky enough to discover that I had the helpers bundle, which meant I didn't have to spend any more time fretting over how long it would take to complete the greenhouse. Since I now had to donate one of my tickets, I stuck it in a chest and started to chop down trees in hopes of collecting 5 mystery boxes. Just like that. Oh my god, I got 2 of them. On the final day of spring, my curiosity, which normally slows me down, paid off when a worm spot produced the remaining mystery boxes I needed, and then it was off to the community center to collect my first Star Drop tea. With the start of summer, I purchased arguably too many blueberry seeds and planted them in hopes of sustaining me money-wise through the rest of the run. About a week into summer, I got a request from Clint for a hot pepper, and it was here that my foolishness to spend all my money on blueberry seeds blew up in my face. I had not planted any other crops, and now there wasn't enough time to grow a pepper for Clint, so I had to miss out on this request, but I did go ahead and plant the other crops just in case another request like this came in. Towards the middle of summer, I was getting close to getting my 6th prize ticket when I got a help wanted request from Clint for 10 iron ore. This would be easy enough to get from the ice levels of the mine, but unfortunately, my deepest checkpoint at the moment was level 25. I needed to get down another 15 levels before I could even start getting iron ore. So I did spend some 10 minutes or so getting down to level 40 to mine that iron for Clint. You can't just buy that ore from Clint and then show it to him, right? You have to mine it? Well, time wasted or not, I got my 6th ticket from Clint the next day. And with that ticket, I got my 2nd Star Drop tea. Finally, on summer 15, my first blueberry harvest came in, earning me a whopping $15,000. Exactly enough for the house upgrade and the mermaid's pendant. Almost like I needed exactly that number of blueberry seeds. Well, I guess I could have done half the seeds and then I still get a 2nd harvest. Whatever. Point is, I grabbed my wood and went to Robin to upgrade my house. I also want to make note that this threw my splits out of whack because I thought it would take way longer to get the house upgrade, but it was the first of my tasks done. I had no idea how any of this would play out anyway, so that'll be inaccurate through the rest of the run. However, having just said that, right after purchasing the house upgrade, I got my 8th heart with Leah, which meant I could also move forward with buying bouquets. So many important things were happening all at once so unexpectedly that I did forget to accurately mark any of my splits at all. Speedrunning is hard. Just as I was wrapping up the 3rd week of summer, I got a help wanted quest to get a red mushroom for Demetrius. I was a bit bummed that I would have to spend another full day trying to reach lower levels of the mine again to find one, until I remembered that I just happened to pick the mushroom cave as I sped through the conversation with Demetrius earlier. And as luck would have it, there was a red mushroom waiting for me, which I gave to Demetrius for my 7th prize ticket. After missing another help request due to not growing crops, who grows radishes? I would not be making the same mistake in the fall, so the first thing I did was buy 1 seed of every crop, and also a ton of cranberries. Also starting in the fall, I would be picking up a special orders quest each week because while they do often take a little longer to complete, they are a guaranteed prize ticket as a reward, and I still had like 10 to go, so it was off to the mines to kill some bats. Just past the 6-hour mark, I gave Leah the final salad to get her to 10 hearts. This meant that all I needed at this point was 1 more Star Drop tea and 1 rainy day on which I could buy the mermaid's pendant. While I was killing a few bats every day, I got a help wanted request from Lewis to kill frost jellies, which was pretty convenient, but it's weird that they call them jellies sometimes, right? Like, in the early quest from Marlin, it calls them slimes, doesn't it? Which is it? Where's the consistency? Anyway, I got my 8th prize ticket from Lewis. And then my 9th on the following day after I finished killing the bats. Now that I didn't have to worry about building friendship anymore, my days got a lot more efficient. I just had to pick up the special orders request on Mondays and then check the help wanted board each day. If there wasn't a help request and I had already completed the special order for the week, it was right back to bed. I did decide to stay up for the Stardew Valley Fair because if I can win the Grange display, I can use those star tokens to buy a prize ticket. Unfortunately, I only got 2nd place, but what do you expect when you just scrounge up whatever random assortment of items you can find in chests lying around on the farm? So I had to make a detour to the color wheel, but I got my tokens and then bought my 12th prize ticket. Only 5 to go. After a double fish delivery, I got my 13th prize ticket from Robin. Then just past the 8-hour mark, I got ticket 14 from the wizard for killing dust sprites, and then spent the rest of the day fishing up trash for Linus to collect ticket 15 the next day. And with those tickets, the 3rd and final Star Drop tea came into view on the prize ticket machine, which meant that I needed to figure out who I was going to propose to. Although that might not matter if it doesn't rain. At long last, after nary a drop all season, it finally rained on the last day of fall. So I drank a Joja Cola for some extra speed as I raced to the beach to buy the mermaid's pendant. And just as I approached the bottom of town, it occurred to me, I hadn't fixed the bridge to the tide pools yet. So back to the farm I ran, grabbed my excess wood, chugged another cola, and then got sidetracked by the help wanted board. Willie wanted a copper bar, so I ran back to the farm again and quickly smelted one up. Up, down, whichever. Either way, probably not very efficient, but alas, after dropping off the bar with Willie, I finally repaired the bridge and bought the mermaid's pendant. On the first day of winter, I delivered an aquamarine to Clint, who rewarded me with my 16th prize ticket, leaving me with just 1 more to get my last Star Drop tea. That being the case, the marriage candidate with the next birthday would be Sebastian. I felt like I could get 1 more ticket before the 10th, and I already had a frozen tear, so it was decided. I would be proposing to Sebastian. Now I will say, I knew that Sebastian took a while to come out of his room, and I wasn't sure if that might take longer than sleeping until the 14th and proposing to Harvey, who was accessible much earlier in the day. Looking back at it now, that actually might have been the play, but I had made the decision and I had to stick with it. On Winter 4, I picked up a request for a largemouth bass which I had to go catch for Demetrius. Luckily, I didn't actually waste any time since I was able to catch one before Robin's house opened. The next day, Demetrius wanted me to catch 2 perch, so it was back to fishing. Again, this was complete before I could get to him, so I didn't lose any extra time. Then, going 3 for 3 for the STEM household, Robin was asking for an iron bar the next day, so I slapped some more in the furnace and went to bed. Upon delivery, Robin handed over my 17th prize ticket, which I immediately brought down to Lewis's house to collect my final Star Drop tea. I returned to the farm to collect all of my key items and headed to Leah's to give her the bad news. Remember, the arbitrary rules I established dictate that I cannot, in good conscience, propose to someone while still in a relationship. I think she took it well. Then it was back home to sleep until the 10th, Sebastian's birthday. Once it was the 10th, all I could do was wait. And while I was waiting, I demonstrated that I was entirely unacquainted with Sebastian in any way, which is very important for this to count as love at first sight. Sebastian is single. I do not know Sebastian. At 9 a.m., I was able to get into Robin's house, where I continued to wait at Sebastian's door until 10:30, when I had to watch him get out of bed and go right to his computer, oblivious to my presence outside his room. Yeah, Harvey was almost assuredly the quicker option. Finally, at 3:00 p.m., Sebastian made his way to the door, and as he opened it, I introduced myself, gave him all 3 teas, which brought him to 8 hearts. Then I offered him the bouquet, which he accepted, expanding his heart meter and bringing him to 9 hearts. Then I gifted the frozen tear, a loved item, maxing out his hearts so that I can then propose, to which he also accepts, taking us from first sight to engaged, all in the matter of a 10-minute conversation, completing the run just under 9 hours. Ooh. And as I said, since this is the first and only time this run has been attempted, as far as I'm aware, that is the world record. And that's pretty cool, but I really don't care about that. That time can easily be beaten. Even I could beat that time if I tried again just by playing more efficiently. But I want all of you to take a crack at it. I've had so much fun coming up with this concept and theory crafting and brainstorming all the ways I could make things quicker. I would love to see what other people can come up with and share those with me. If you're quick, you could just do the same strategy just with animation canceling and be a world record holder. But what I'd really be interested in is all the new strategies people can come up with. Which candidate do you think would be a better victim? Can you get tickets more reliably or more quickly? I want to know! In fact, since doing this speedrun, I've learned of one particular spot, let's just say on the east side of town, as to not spoil anything further, where I could have gotten a free prize ticket, which could have saved me a bit of time. So give it a shot, and until next time, thanks for watching.